Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. The Premier League has returned this weekend, and for the final game of the first game week, Leeds are back on their return to face Everton. Leeds spent 2 seasons back in the Championship. Their first one ended in heartbreak in the playoffs back in 2024, but under the management of Daniel Farke, Leeds are back in the top flight, but the German has a poor record in this division, with just 6 wins from his previous 49 games when he was in charge of Norwich. Everton have got an exciting season to look forward to, a brand new home ground after leaving Goodison last season. The first game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium will have to wait, but before that a battle at Ellen Road is ahead as David Moyes looks for 3 precious points. The 22-23 season was the last time these two sides locked heads, as the meeting at Ellen Road was a 1-1 draw. But the game at Goodison did end in an Everton win. A Coleman second half goal took all the points for the Blues back in the middle of February of 2023. So for the final matchup of this first Premier League weekend, will Leeds become the second newly promoted team to win their first game of the season, or will Everton kickstart their campaign with a win at a very tricky ground? And it's another club who are looking to expand their ground. Of course, Everton went down the route of building a new ground. Leeds are looking to expand Ellen Road, and the last time it was expanded was back in 1994, so over 30 years since this ground last had an increase of capacity. And of course, for Everton, new ground, very exciting. It apparently costs around £750 million. It's got a capacity of just under 53,000. They've had a couple of games there already, Legends game and a first team game, one behind closed doors, one in front of the supporters. They did lose 1-0 to Roma in their game last week, when they did have fans in the ground for the first time to watch the men's first team. And based off the back end of last season, when David Moyes returned to Everton, he did start pretty well, and a lot of that came away from home. They actually won 3 of their last 4 away games of the season in the last campaign, Everton. And, despite never going higher than 13th, the position they finished in, it's a big positive in terms of where they've been in recent seasons. The season before last, 15th, season before that, 17th, and just avoided relegation the year that Leeds went down themselves in their last Premier League season, when they finished in 19th on 31 points. There were 5 points off Everton, who just about survived in 17th position. But it feels like there's been a lot of change in those last 2 or 3 years since that season when Leeds last went down and Everton just about survived on the final day. I do feel like this season, especially for Leeds and Sunderland, there's just a little bit more optimism in the fact that they could potentially try their best to have some sort of fight to stay in the division. Both historically Premier League clubs, and for Leeds, they've got to use this ground, and make it a fortress. It's such a difficult place to come to usually when the fans are on it and the team are in form. It's a place you don't want to go. And I think last time they were in the Premier League, it didn't have that fear factor. I know it was the Championship they were in last year, but Leeds did only lose 1 of their home games in the Championship, and that was a 1-0 defeat to Burnley in the middle of September. They actually only conceded 12 goals last season at home. Leeds United, they kept 25 clean sheets altogether, 14 of them at home and 11 of them away from Ellen Road. And for Everton, it was a pretty steady season when Moyes took over. 11 wins, 15 draws, 12 losses. It was just a very plain sailing season. I think that was almost a campaign that Everton needed, just a relaxed, just get through the season and build for the new one, which is now upon us. So many seasons where they've been flirting with relegation, the point deduction, which I think Sean Dyche did really well to deal with, that points deduction. But unfortunately, start of last season, they just couldn't quite build and continue, their momentum from the season before, surviving with that points deduction. They just got off to a bit of a slow start. Dyche was sacked after game week 14. It was a 4-0 defeat to Wolves, and that left them in 15th. And then Moyes took them up 2 more places by the end of the season, and they finished in 13th. I'm just going to quickly go and turn on one of the other lights, just 1 second. Just had a message. I've been on mute since I went to turn the light on. Oh my word. We'll go through that again quickly. We'll go through lineups, which I was just doing. Oh, yeah. You can tell I don't do this as much as I used to. Wow. Okay, very quick. Let's go through the lineups. Lucas Perry in goal for Leeds. Their 6'6" new goalkeeper and Brazilian. Back four of Jaden Bogle, Joe Rodon, Pascal Strauch, and Gabriel Goodmanson. And 3 in midfield of Ethan Ampadu, Ao Tanaka, and Anton Stach. And 3 up front on the right will be Dan James. On the left is Willie Nonso. And through the middle is Joel Piru, who was the Championship top scorer for last season. And for Everton, it is Jordan Pickford in goal. A back four, which seems for Everton could definitely change into a back three. On the right back position will be Jake O'Brien. On the left hand side will be makeshift full back James Garner, and 2 centre halves of James Tarkowski, who also suffered with injury at the back end of last season. He'll partner alongside Michael Keane. And then 2 holding midfielders of Tim Irabunum, who's into his second season with Everton after joining from Aston Villa. Alongside him will be Idrissa Gueye, who did win Everton's Player of the Year last season and also the club's Player of the Year. 3 behind the striker on the right will be Carlos Alcaraz, who joined on a permanent deal from Flamengo after spending the second half of last season on loan at Everton. On the left-hand side will be Iliman Ndiaye, who is now into his second season as well after joining for just under £17 million from Marseille. And in the number 10 position will be another new signing, £25 million spent on Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who is looking to get his Premier League career back on track after a bit of a slow season with Chelsea. And up front, leading the line through the middle, will be Beto, making his 30th Everton start since joining back in August 2023. And at Ellen Road, they are observing a minute's silence after the tragic passing of Diogo Jota and Andre Silva in the summer just gone. Throughout the weekend in the Premier League, all grounds have held minutes of silence, and they've all been impeccably held, including Old Trafford yesterday. And it is just beyond words of how sad and upsetting the news was, and probably will continue to be for a very, very long time. It was quite hard to hear Arne Slot in an interview after Liverpool's win on Friday night against Bournemouth. He said, when they were back at 2-2 and Bournemouth had got their goals to get them level, he would usually look for a certain player to bring on to change the game, and unfortunately, of course, Diogo Jota wasn't there, but he's been so very brilliantly remembered by all clubs, but of course especially Liverpool, and just the amount of showing outside of Anfield once the news had broke, all the flowers and all the different clubs coming out to show their respects was beautiful, and like I say, throughout the weekend all clubs have showed their respect, and even at the likes of Wolves, one of his former clubs, it was a fantastic banner they had, and I know his parents were at Wolves at the weekend, so very fondly remembered forever, Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva. As we are about to get underway here at Ellen Road, it'll be Everton to kick us off, kicking right to left, Leeds left to right. It'll be a long Pickford ball down the Everton left-hand side up towards Beto, header won by Ampadu, still alive. James tries to win the second header, but it drops to Iliman Ndiaye, who's tackled, and it's played forward to Piru, whose touch is loose, and it's won back by Irabunum, a brilliant sliding challenge from the central midfielder. It's now with Dewsbury Hall, who's surrounded by Leeds United players, but they move it around quickly and go back towards the halfway line to James Tarkowski. Loose touch, and it goes out for a Leeds United throw-in on this near side, just inside their own half. Let's get this timer started. 45 seconds in. It's a very aggressive Leeds press to begin the game there. Like I say, Dewsbury Hall was surrounded by at least 3 Leeds United shirts as Bogle's header throw-in is headed on by Piru straight out of play, and this time it will be an Everton throw-in, and it does look like James Garner will be filling in at left-back for Everton. He is a very versatile player, James Garner, making his 75th Premier League appearance for Everton. Never played for England in a senior level, made 18 appearances for the under-21s, and usually if he is used in a defensive position, it's usually right back, but this time he's having to go on his weaker side and play at left full-back for Everton. As it is Leeds United down the left-hand side. Brilliant link-up play between Nonto and Stach, who can bring it forward and take on one, and then away from a second, and back out wide left to Nonto. In the final third, running at O'Brien, trying to get onto his right foot, but he runs into the traffic of Irabunum, and O'Brien can clear off the Italian, and that will be a goal kick for Everton. It's a lively start for Leeds, and they'll definitely need him on form and on fire this season. Willie Nonto, a very exciting young winger when he first broke onto the scene in the Premier League 3 years ago. He was only aged 18, 19. He's got a lot more experience. He was actually heavily linked to Everton 2 years ago once they were relegated from the Premier League, but the move never actually fully took place, but there were strong links to him to join the Merseyside team. But he's stuck at Leeds, and he's now back in the Premier League as it's Tanaka for Leeds down this near side. Tries to play it through for James, cut out by Garner at left back. Into the midfield to Gate. Back to Garner. Clears it down the left hand side, looking for Beto. Last touch off Rodent. And that'll be a throw-in for Everton just inside their own half on the near side, as there is David Moyes. Game number 717 in the Premier League. Collected 1,020 points. Does average 1.42 points per game as a manager in the Premier League, with the likes of Sunderland, West Ham, Manchester United, and of course Everton as well. There's a long ball from Pickford, finds O'Brien, heads it inside to Alcaraz, still on the right wing here for Everton, towards the final third, plays it back into O'Brien towards the corner flag, cross goes in, deflects away for a throw-in, but the flag goes up on Jake O'Brien, the Irishman, who was offside as he regained the ball off Alcaraz. So free kick in the left-back position for Leeds United, who only won 4 of their opening 9 games in the Championship, but went on to win the division with 100 points. It was a 91st minute winner away at Plymouth, which got them the title from Manor Solomon, who is no longer at the club. He only spent last season on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. As just under 4 minutes in, still 0-0. No big chances at goal yet. This free kick will be taken by their new goalkeeper for Leeds, Lucas Perry. Goes up towards Piru, header won by Tarkovsky. Controlled by Ampadu. Stack, can't quite find Piru. Cleared long by Tarkovsky down the right channel. Beto will give chase. Roden gets there first and heads it back to Perry. And he'll roll it out to the Welshman of Joe Roden, who did spend 4 years at Spurs, never really broke through. And now he's making his 99th appearance for Leeds. Spent his first season on loan, then joined permanently last summer. And here is Goodmanson going back here into Nonto, forcing Everton back here. Nonto goes for a low ball in towards Piru. It deflects to him and it's a shot towards goal. And it's well blocked and saved by Pickford. Corner for Leeds on the far side. Certainly started the better of the two. Daniel Farke's men. It was a low ball in towards the near post by Nonto, and it came off the foot of Tarkovsky, who tried to stop it going through, but he actually helped it into the path of Piru, who tried to shoot first time. It almost went through the legs of Pickford, but his left thigh was in the way to divert it for a corner kick. It's going to be an in-swinging ball for Leeds. It's a low one. It's flicked onto the far post. The header won by O'Brien. Still alive here for Everton outside the box with James, who works the cross into the box, and it's easily caught by Pickford, who's not happy with the contact by Strauch. But O'Brien calms him down and we can get back underway. It's a really well worked corner there. Swung into the near post to Ampadu, who's the one who just flicked it on with, I think it was the right foot, but it was dealt with in the end by Pickford as Michael Keane goes long with his left foot down the Everton left. Does it run out of pitch? Yes, it does. Thrown on the halfway line for Leeds United. And they've already thrown it backwards here, and it's now with their number 5, Pascal Strauch, born in Belgium, but did leave the country at the age of 3. Did represent the Netherlands at youth level. He got as high as the under 17s though. Came through at Ajax. That's where he joined from, all the way back in 2018 now. As it's Leeds on the halfway line with their number 4, Ethan Ampadu, who has suffered 3 relegations in his career, 2 of them over in Italy, with Venezia and Spezia. As James down the line for Bogle. Can he keep it in? No, he can't. Just overhit. Goal kick for Everton, but it's a really positive start. And that's someone they'll be very glad to be starting. That is Jayden Bogle, who's just suffered with injury the last couple of weeks of pre-season, and it wasn't a given he was going to be fit for tonight's game, but he has just passed the fitness test. Maybe the fact the game was on Monday may have helped Jayden Bogle, give him those extra few days to get himself fit and ready. But like I say, for Daniel Farke, the Leeds United manager, just 6 wins in his previous 49 Premier League games as a manager. 6 wins. He had 4 at home against Newcastle, Manchester City, Bournemouth and Leicester, and 2 away wins as a Premier League manager. One of them against Everton at Goodison Park and the other against Brentford. But this is his 50th game as a Premier League manager after winning his 3rd Championship title, as Leeds win it in the final third but can't quite work it through to the run of Tanaka. And it's now Iliman Ndiaye going back to Michael Keane at left centre-back. And Everton are back in possession with their number 6, James Tarkovsky, who had made 111 successive Premier League starts, which lasted just under 3 years, but he got injured in April of this year, a hamstring injury which ended that run of successive starts. And now he makes his 120th competitive appearance for Everton. He brings it forward here, taking on a couple of players, then running into traffic of Anton Stach, and that will be a throw-in for Everton, complaining that he didn't really have too many options there for him. James Tarkovsky, the Everton captain, just less than 8 minutes in, still no chances at goal. No saves had to be made. We've had a Pickford catch so far from a ball in the box, but that's about it in the opening exchanges of this game. They have had a poor pre-season though, Everton. 1 win in 7, and that came in their third game against Port Vale in their first game at the new ground. But they have suffered badly with injuries already this season, Everton, especially in the defensive department, struggling for fit defenders. Branthwaite's out tonight alongside Mikalenko and Patterson, hence why James Garner's having to do a makeshift job at full-back, as there's a clearance there. It's an Everton goal kick, and that was a very aggressive challenge from Goodmanson, the new Leeds left-back. Their new number 3 is Junior Firpo. Their previous full-back was poached by Real Betis. His contract expired the back end of last season. He decided to go back to Spain.
Gabriel.
Garner at left back from this goal kick. Low ball forward into a more central area. Beto can help it onto Gable. He's been dispossessed by Strauch. Piru concern. Edge of the area. Onto his right foot he shoots. And it deflects wide of the near post. And it's a corner for Leeds again. That time it was Michael Keane in the way. Just no time at all for any Everton players on the ball. The main question with that sort of press and aggressiveness is, can they keep it up for the entire game? They've done it well so far for the opening 10 minutes, as it looks like their set-piece taker this season, Anton Stach, will take another corner. Surprised he's not in the box. He's 6'4" himself, the German giant. As he puts an outswinger into the middle of the box, it's a header won by Beto. Drops to Iliman Ndiaye, who is keeping the ball for Everton at the moment in the left-back position. Lays it off to Garner, who then just gets it forward high and long to the halfway line, volleyed back forward by Bogle, headed on by Piru. He'll chase down his own header as it's chested down by Garner at left back, and then tries to play it forward, cannons off the header James, and that's a throw in a left back position for Everton. And in contrast, Leeds have had a decent pre-season, no defeats, but just the 2 wins and 3 draws. Drew against Manchester United 0-0 in Sweden in the middle of July. Also drew 1-1 to Villarreal at home, and then to AC Milan in Dublin last week. Their 2 wins came against SC Verl and another one against Paderborn in Germany. So did a bit of travelling during pre-season, Leeds United. Going to Sweden, Germany and Ireland as well. That's with their left back. Goodmanson on halfway. To Stach. It's just dropped a bit deeper. The midfielder finds Tanaka. Still in the Leeds half as they go back to Strauch. And then out wide to Goodmanson. Tries to find Nonto into the space, but it's going to be collected firstly by O'Brien, who's facing his own goal, turns and clears, and stays in play. And Leeds have it just in front of the halfway line with Tanaka. Brilliant little pick-up at the start of last season. Tanaka, just £2.9 million from Dusseldorf. The 26-year-old. Absolute bargain as Nonto's been played into the box down the left-hand side. The angle tight, tries to pull the cross. But a big sliding challenge from Irabunum sends it for another Leeds corner. And they've got to make the most of these, because I think just one Leeds signing isn't 6 foot or over, and that's Goodmanson, the left-back, who's 5'11". You know, out of the other 6 signings they've made, 6 or 7 signings they've made, they're all 6 foot plus. They do go short this time to Nonto, then back to Stach, who's got the better angle cross. It's another low one, easily volleyed away this time by Garner. Nonto's having to chase it, and he flicks it forward down the left-hand side, and Stach can keep it in the Leeds number 18. Beto's getting across, and again, deflects it behind for another corner. They're coming thick and fast, these set pieces for Leeds United. They're going to change it up this time. It's going to be a left-footed out-swinging delivery into the 6-yard box. It's a header away as far as Dan James, one-on-one with Gay. Tries the left-footed shot, blocked by Alcaraz, but then it's won back by Ampadu. And he turns on the halfway line and Leeds can start again. Just over 13 minutes, still yet to really challenge Pickford in the Everton goal, but they've certainly been sniffing around the 18-yard box trying to create the chance at goal. Most of the action in the opening 13 minutes coming in the Everton half, which is a positive for Leeds. 25 teams separated these two last season. Sorry, just the 15, sorry. As again, Nonto down the left-hand side. Crosses, and it comes off O'Brien. It's another corner. Yeah, sorry, the 12 teams separated these two last season. Leeds finishing in first in the Championship and then Everton in 13th in the Premier League. It's going to be Stach back on the corner this time. Gabriel Goodmanson took the last one with his left foot. Back with the in-swinger. Height on it this time. Pickford comes forward and he misses it. And so does Strauch. Goes to the near side where it can be kept alive by Tanaka. First time cross from James into the far post. Flicked away. But as far as Goodmanson who strikes towards goal. Blocked by Tarkowski. Tanaka with the header across. Needs to be dealt with. Keen volleys. Laid down by Gay to Dewsbury Hall. Tries to return it to the Englishman who can only head as far as Bogle. Leeds back in possession and they're getting closer. Caused a bit of chaos in the 18-yard area. Everton have just not got any sort of foot in this game so far. Just seems full of panic so far. It's with their right centre-back of Joe Rodon. Came through at Swansea for 15 years. Now at the age of 27, he finds a forward ball to Stach. Then into the space for Bogle in a right wing position. First time cross goes in. It's a left-footed clearance by Tarkowski. It's going to be a throw-in for Leeds, midway inside the Everton half. Just slow it down here, Jayden Bogle, and throws it back towards the halfway line to Rodon. And then across to Pascal Strauch, who's never beaten Everton in his career in his previous 4 games against them. Gabriel Goodmanson goes back into Stach. Ampadu playing in that holding midfield role. Brings in the left centre half of Strauch into Nonto. Running towards Irabunum. Going on the outside but not being able to take him on. Really good challenge, but he can't avoid the throw-in. But he's timed his challenges right so far. Tim Irabunum. He's put a couple of good, strong challenges in the opening 16 minutes. Former England under-20 international. Goodmanson with the throw-in. Down the line to Stach, then inside to Nonto. Goes back 10 yards to Ampadu, then across to the right towards Bogle and his bright pink boots. He's dispossessed though by Alcaraz. There is 2 plays up there for Everton. Alcaraz does keep a hold of it. Forces himself out towards the right-hand side to Iliman Njai. And then back to the right back of O'Brien. Then on once more to Pickford, just in front of the 6-yard line. Finds Michael Keane at left centre-back. Forward to Dewsbury Hall, challenging one to control. He's bundled over by Ampadu. 2 former Chelsea players colliding, and that's a free kick for Everton. Didn't agree with it, Ampadu, but Chris Kavanagh was sure of his decision. 39-year-old referee. Started his refereeing this season competitively at the Community Shield between Crystal Palace and Liverpool, which ended in a Palace win on penalties. Pickford with the diagonal ball out to the right, flicked on by Njai. Can't be kept in though by O'Brien in the final third, throw-in for Leeds. Throw-in taken and cleared by the left-back of Goodmanson. Up towards James. He does flick it onto Piru, but that touch is wayward. Then cleared by Gay and then sliced away by Goodmanson. Thankfully for him, drops to Bogle, who can clear it as he just about kept it in. But it goes all the way through for Pickford, just outside the 18-yard area. Bit scrappy there from both, in fairness. And it has just got that kind of feeling to it. Don't get me wrong, Leeds are looking more settled, but they are having their odd moment of just a little bit of panic. And Everton just seems to be all panic so far as Tarkowski lifts it down the right-hand side towards O'Brien. First header won by Goodmanson, then controlled by O'Brien. But then tackled by Nonto, doing his defensive duties really well. And then Piru linking the play up out to the left. There's a big touch forward by Stach. Will he get there? No, he won't. Pickford's out. And he's going to have to clear it because the ball's running out of speed. And Pickford clears out for a throw-in for Leeds. In the Everton half, I think Pickford wanted to try and see that out for a goal kick. But the ball was never going to travel that far, unfortunately. But just under 19 minutes in, again, still no real chances at goal, but Leeds have certainly been the better side so far. Stach on the ball, inside in towards a more central area to Tanaka, out wide right to Bogle, about 25 yards out. He's fancying the shot. No, he play it out wide to James instead. Running at Garner. Finds the cross, but it's cleared at the near post by Keane. He was looking for Piru. Bogle certainly thought about the shot there, but probably took the more sensible option of playing it into James, who did work the cross in, but just couldn't find his target of Joel Piru. And it's Tanaka in a tight area, but he can work it back to Strauch. It's now with the goalkeeper, Lucas Perry. Never made a senior appearance for the Brazilian national side, but he has spent 8 games on the bench. He wasn't included, though, in their Copa America squad last summer, joining Leeds on a 4-year deal. Here's Joe Rodham, just inside his own half. No Everton player pressing him at the moment. Goes 10 yards to his right here to Ampadu. It's now switched out to the left to Goodmanson. Nonto. It's now with Tanaka on halfway. Again, just so much more time for the Leeds United players compared to when Everton have the ball. And it's spread out wide to the right-hand side here to James, who goes for another low ball in to Piru. And then headed on by Bogle and then cleared not too far by O'Brien, but there is a whistle and a flag up for offside. I feel like that big chance is coming. They've still not really tested Pickford, despite all the opportunities. James got it, touched it out of his feet nicely, whipped a ball into Piru, who's touched towards goal, deflected off Tarkowski towards Bogle, who was in the offside position, as Piru had the original strike. And then Everton try and play out from the back here. Dropping really deep is in Jai. Returns it to Pickford after pressure from Bogle, who's following him all the way. Michael Keane back into Jordan Pickford. He's actually been sent off at this ground for Preston back in December 2015. So not always the happiest of memories for Jordan Pickford at this ground. Iraboon him on halfway. Bit of time. Plays it forward in between the lines for Alcaraz. That touch is heavy, but keeps it away from Ampadu. It's now Keane skipping himself away from James and then going back to Idrissa Gueye. Still going. Senegalese midfielder. 35 years of age now. Had his second spell at the club. Was originally here from 2016 to 2019 as a ball down the right-hand side again, chased down by Beto. But the header's won by Strauch. And it's now with Ampadu in the middle. It's not making anything stick up front. Everton at the moment. Yet to have a shot at goal. And Leeds are on the higher end of the possession. So we are just midway into this first half as Strauch lifts it down the left-hand side to Nonto. And it's a brilliantly weighted ball towards the corner flag. Running at O'Brien. Now in towards the 18-yard box. Onto that right foot. Chopping once, then twice. Then back heeling it down the line towards Goodmanson. Just too much on it, and that will be a goal kick. It does seem like they're linking up pretty nicely in the opening exchanges. Willie Nonto and Gabriel Gudmundsson. Swedish fullback, Malmo born. Spent the last 4 years of his career at Lille, where he's just joined from, to come to Leeds. It's Pickford. Plays it towards the left-hand side. It's going to be kept in by Njai. Just about falls to the feet of Gay after a deflected ball off Garner. It's now the right centre-back of Tarkowski. And the captain goes back into Pickford. 76 caps for England. He is the second most capped goalkeeper. One in front of Seaman, who's now in third. Tarkowski gone halfway on that far side, playing it forward. Can't find Alcaraz. Cleared forward by Gudmundsson. It's now with Nonto on the left. Restarting with the left back, Gudmundsson. Takes on Alcaraz and plays it forward to Stach. And he's continued his run the full back, and he's been found once more. And gets away from Tarkowski and then tries to poke it through towards Pirou. Dealt with by Keane. Clearance from O'Brien. Off the German, Stach. And that will be a throw-in for Everton. The Leeds United fans are up for this. They must like what they're seeing so far, because it has been really positive and they've played a lot better than Everton, who did lose just 7 games on their travels last season. The Toffees, 3 in their last 12. So they ended last season away from home really strongly. As the flick on from Beto can't quite reach Dewsbury Hall as Ampadu shields the ball off him. And he takes it quickly, working it to Bogle on the right-hand side. Into the Everton half we go. Has to slow it down. Doesn't have too many options available. Goes to Roden. Then across to his centre-back partner of Struijk. He's got plenty of time on the ball here, the 6'3" Dutchman. Roden. 25 minutes in. Still goalless at Ellen Road. Struijk. Allowed to bring it forward into the centre circle to Tanaka. Back to Struijk. Then forward to Pirou. Works it out to the left back. Or in the left back position to Stach, who has got the full back in front of him. He'll find Gudmundsson. Keeps it away from Alcaraz. Then back into Tanaka. About 10 yards in front of the halfway line. It's Ampadu. Couple of 1-2s of Struijk. And it now finds Tanaka, who's allowed to face forward. Then just restarts here with Ampadu. Plenty of time on the ball for the Welshman. Struijk. Roden. Now Beto presses, but he can keep it moving back to Struijk. Now Gudmundsson. Plays it through for Tanaka. Then out wide to Stach. Really fluid football from Leeds. He's going to go for a big switch out towards James. And it'll find him. This is brilliant. Bogle makes a run ahead of him, but he'll go for the cross instead towards Nonto. He's overhit it. And out for a goal kick, but I'm impressed. This is seriously good football from Daniel Farke's side. Despite having such a poor Premier League record, the German manager, losing 35 of his 49 games in charge of a Premier League team, conceding just over 100 goals. Long ball forward towards Beto. Header won though by Struijk. Second ball picked up by Alcaraz, who finds O'Brien. Then we're back in the Everton half here with Tarkowski. Going across the number 5, Michael Keane, who spent 11 years coming through at Manchester United. Had 3 solid years at Burnley, which got him his move to Everton in a £30 million move. O'Brien. In the final third, it's a throw-in for Everton. It looks like it's going to be a longer throw-in because James Tarkowski and Michael Keane are jogging their way into the 18-yard area. Going to try and cause a bit of confusion themselves here, the Toffees. Throw-in does eventually go short to Idrissa Gueye, who can cross it into the box. It's a header won by Stach. Always finds Irabunam. Goes 10 yards to his right to Idrissa Gueye. Clips it back into the 18-yard box where it's an easy catch and collection for Lucas Perry. He wants to distribute quickly. He's going to try a kick out of his hands towards Dan James. It will bounce through and out for an Everton throw-in. He apologises. He knows that's not the greatest of kicks towards their number 7, Dan James. He does have a goal against Everton, and that was back in April 23. Away from home during his loan spell at Fulham. Alcaraz finds Beto, tries to return it to Alcaraz, cleared by Goodmanson, all as far as Trezeguet on the edge of the area, right hand side, plays it across to Alcaraz, he touches heavy, he's going to keep chasing it down, but it can be seen through into the hands of Perry. Good strong defending from Bogle. Just let him down there, that heavy touch from Alcaraz. Again, it was a bit scrappy as the Trezeguet played it to Alcaraz, that touch just always getting away from him. Bogle on halfway right back. Finds Piru, returns it to Bogle, and then finds Stach, and then Piru again on the right wing. It's so good football. Stach into Tanaka, this is brilliant. Lets it come across his body. He's been held back by Irabunum. The whistle will eventually be blown. Chris Kavanagh, the referee, will just keep the cards in the pocket momentarily. It's just one touch football from Leeds, which you don't see too much of these days. It's a lot more slowed down because of these low blocks that are having to be broke down. It just gives time, more time and space for players. But this Leeds football is just catching Everton asleep a little bit. It's Tanaka on the right hand side. Tackle by Njai fairly. It's Everton number 10 to Trezeguet, looking for Garner at left back, cut out by James, touches in front of him, cleared by Garner. So towards Beto. Gets away from him and Tanaka restarts to Stroud. Just under half an hour in, still 0-0. So still no real big clear-cut chances really. Rodent into the Everton half we go. He goes across to Stroud. This is Leeds' 4th Premier League season in their last 6. Their best recent finish was 9th in the 2020-2021 season. Their first season back in the top flight as James crosses into the edge of the area, headed by Irabunum. It's now Goodmanson for Leeds. The attack continues. Nonto can't find the run of the left back, but then it's won back by Stach. Tanaka from 30 yards will go for a shot, which is high and wide. And I don't think it took any deflection, and that will be a goal kick for Everton. Pickford takes it short to the right centre-back of Tarkowski, who plays it into Pickford once more. He spent 15 years of his youth career coming through at Sunderland. And he was in that the last time they were in the Premier League. It's the long ball is headed up by Beto. There's a man down for Leeds, but Njai will carry on and take over. He's almost been tripped by Ampadu, but instead tackled by Bogle. It's now Piru out towards the left-hand side to Stach, who will leave it for Nonto. Strauch was the one who went down, but he's now back to his feet, just holding his lower back. Tanaka forced back after a good press from Dewsbury Hall. It's now with the goalkeeper, Perry. Forward and out to the right centre half of Roden. Finds Piron halfway, goes back to Tanaka. It's now across to Strauch. Finds Goodmanson, the left back. He's allowed to bring it forward into the Everton half. He's got Alcaraz in front of him. It's now Tanaka on halfway. Finds Strauch. And then back once more to Perry. Making sure they keep the possession here, Leeds. It's a good watch so far, if you are a Leeds United fan. Bogle's ball, first time cut out by Garner, but then he returns it backwards to Roden to keep the ball for Leeds. Goes towards the goalkeeper. His touch isn't great. Can he avoid the corner? He can. It looks like that may have just gone out, but referee says no. Cleared up in the air by Roden towards halfway, looking for Piru. Headed on by Keane. Headed away though by Ampadu. Headed backwards by Irabunim. Tarkowski gives chase and has to just get rid. Left-footed. Throwing 4 Leeds in the Everton half. Did this go out? Oh, it went so far out. How have they not picked that up? Should have been a corner for Everton. It was a good 2 balls out of play at least. I don't know how they've not really seen that, to be completely honest. It's been all Leeds in terms of any attacking sort of play in this first half. Goodmanson in the final third in the left wing position. He gets it all the way across, and it's just too much for Dan James. And it's a throw-in for Everton on this near side. Not the worst of deliveries from their new left back, Gabriel Goodmanson. Scored 2 goals last season in Ligue 1. Knocked out of the Champions League last 16 to Dortmund, his Lille side. Garner to take the throw from left back for Everton. Headed back towards him by Roden, and he's going to have to shield this one behind for a goal kick for the Toffees. They lost their first 4 Premier League games of last season, Everton, to Brighton, Spurs, Bournemouth and Aston Villa, but then after that just went on a run of just 1 defeat from their next 8. But that run of just 1 defeat did only include 2 wins. They drew a lot of games in that little run, 5 altogether. As Pickford goes long beyond the halfway line, but it's a header won by Ampadu. Comes off the back of Stack. Alcaraz. Stack is down, but the referee sees no foul, and Leeds do have possession, so they'll continue for now. Back to his feet, the German. Number 18, Anton Stach, who has made 2 appearances for Germany, both back in 2022. One in March against Israel and then one in the June against Italy. This is his first club away from his homeland. 10 minutes the first half to go. Nonto running at O'Brien in the final third, but outside the area. It's now with Goodmanson, the fullback. Chops back onto his right foot. And lays it off here into Stach. Ampadu runs away from Dewsbury Hall, then forward into a central area to Piru, then back out wide to Goodmanson. Plenty of time to cross, and he'll put the delivery in. It's headed on by Stach, and then sent over the top by James about 10 yards out. And it's an Everton goal kick. And if anyone looks like scoring, it does look like the home side. Daniel Farke's home record as Leeds boss is pretty impeccable. Just 5 defeats at home in 52 matches so far. As that did take a deflection off James, off the James strike, so it is a corner, whipped in towards the near post. It's had to be cleared away at the far post by O'Brien. Nonto has a shot which deflects out wide towards Tanaka, towards the byline, crosses, deflects, corner for thrown for Leeds. That was very close. It was an in-swinger from the corner, and it was glanced on and had to be cleared at the far post. Looks like it's going to be a longer throw in here by Ethan Ampadu, the captain. Only his 3rd time ever facing Everton. Long throwing into the box. It's headed away by Tarkovsky, as far as Nonto, who wants to work it back out wide to Ampadu, and he finds him. And he puts a ball into the box, headed away by Irabunum. As far as Nonto again, who lays it off behind him to Roden. Out wide to Goodmanson. Forward to Tanaka, one-on-one with O'Brien. Onto his right foot, delivers, deflects. Piru lays it off to Stach, can't quite get the return. It's now Dewsbury Hall runs into the challenge of Ampadu. Ref sees it as a fair one, despite the Everton midfielder staying down. Goodmanson onto his right foot, and Pickford parries in a very comical way. I'm sure he could have held that, as Njai's getting held by Bogle, but he can see him off and find Garner. And then into Gay on the edge of the area, who's tripped, and that is going to be a free kick for Everton on the edge of the area. Just so manic and so much panic whenever Everton get the ball or have the ball or near the ball. Dewsbury Hall crunched there by Ampadu. Not really anything wrong with the challenge, to be honest. Got the ball and then caught a little bit of the man, but that's what happens when you play contact sport. Pickford with the free kick on the edge of his own area, just straight onto the head of a Leeds man. Thankfully, Tarkowski's there for Everton to clean up, but he can't find Alcaraz, who's had to tackle Goodmanson. The last touch comes off the Leeds fullback. And he did say during pre-season that Carlos Alcaraz was better off the bench for Everton in the back end of last season. He did score their last goal of the campaign in their 1-0 away win against Newcastle. But he's having to have more trust this season. He's started performing from the start. Beto's header flicked up in the air. He's still battling with Rodent. Alcaraz trying to help. Ball going everywhere and eventually controlled by Irabunam, who can find O'Brien. Back through down the line towards Irabunam. Is there a touch off Nonto? No, there isn't. And that'll be a throw-in for Leeds. Jake O'Brien, the Irishman, thought it was going to be an Everton ball. Just over 5 minutes left of the first half. Big throwing down the line. It's a header won though by Tarkowski, helped on by Alcaraz. Headed down though by Ampadu to find Goodmanson. Tries to play a low ball towards Piru, cut out by Irabunam. Another throw in here for Leeds United. Their biggest win last season was a 7-0 thumping of Cardiff at home at the start of February. Don't think they'll be winning any game 7-0 this season. But their main aim and target will be survival. And if they play like this in a lot of their games, they'll have good chances of winning matches. It's just they've got to keep this pressing, aggressive style up all games. Pickford's clearance is very wayward and west. And out for a Leeds throw-in, which they've already taken and thrown back into their own half here to Joe Rodent. It's now with Strauch. Goes to his goalkeeper of Perry. Dewsbury Hall is closing him down, but he can clear it up towards halfway, but it's headed away by Gator Njai. He looks to try and take on Bogle. Finds the overlap of Garner. He's actually taken on instead by Dewsbury Hall. He's now got it on the left-hand side. 3 bodies towards the box for Everton, but he keeps it simple. Goes to his right to Gate. Back out wide left to Dewsbury Hall. Everything to his right now for Garner. Goes backwards into Dewsbury Hall. Gate. Dewsbury Hall to the halfway line to Michael Keane. First bit of settled possession here for Everton, and we're 41 minutes into the game. Adjursagay going back into Michael Keane, who has 12 England caps to his name. His last appearance, though, was all the way back in November 2020 against Ireland. Does have a goal, though, to his name for England. I think it's Montenegro back in March 2019. O'Brien at right back, lifting it towards Alcaraz. Cut out, though, by Strauch in the Everton half. Goes to his left there to Goodmanson. It's actually left there for Nonto instead. Finds Stach. Goodmanson back into the German midfielder. It's now with Nonto. Just keeping it moving here, Leeds. 1 or 2 touches they're allowed to have, and then it's got to move on. Strauch on halfway. Forward 10 yards to Nonto on the left-hand side. Forced to go back towards their goalkeeper. It's a half-decent press from Everton, forcing Leeds to go backwards. Then Perry to clear it straight to their right-back O'Brien, whose pass can't quite find Alcaraz. It's now with Anton Stach, the German, going for a high ball out towards the right-hand side. Garner jumps for it, and James will try to get on the loose ball, but it's a good sliding challenge from the former Manchester United Academy graduate. And in the final third, it will be a Leeds throw-in on the near side. Looks like it's probably going to be a long one in from Ethan Ampadu. Exeter-born midfielder. Came through their academy for 9 years before jumping ship to Chelsea, where he made 12 first-team appearances in his 6-year stay. And here is Ampadu. Launches it in with a long throw. It goes towards Piru, who didn't quite expect it because Njai missed the header. It's now Nonto, about 20 yards out from goal, left-footed. He goes for the shots, and it's always rising high. And out for a goal kick for Everton. Just felt like that was never going on target, just always a bit too high. Nicely chopped beyond Alcaraz, though, with the fake shot, making him slip. which gave him the chance to shoot, but probably a smarter idea would have probably been the cross there for Willie Gnonto, but can't knock his effort to try and get the opening goal of this game. We've got 90 seconds left of the first 45. Pickford's long ball headed away by Stack, then headed back forward by O'Brien, then headed away again for Leeds. Bit of head tennis, and eventually there's a free kick given. Irabunum going in a bit too strong there during the aerial duels. Perry on the edge of the area. Long ball for Leeds, out towards Gnonto on the left. Bounced out for a throw, and I don't think he'd ever win an aerial duel on O'Brien. Gnonto 5'8", probably even maybe 5'7", and O'Brien standing large at 6'6". Cork-born Jake O'Brien joined last summer from Lyon for £17 million. Had to wait his turn to get into the team. He basically had to wait for Sean Dyche to go. Because he only played 2 of the opening 19 games last season. Jake O'Brien didn't have any injury, was on the bench for the games he didn't play in, just an unused substitute. Now he's been a lot more heavily used under David Moyes. This is his 25th appearance for Everton, yet to score twice though for them. As a Gay takes over from Garner on the left-hand side, just outside the area. Now he's in the corner of the box, on his right foot. Goes back here into Garner. Not naturally left-footed. We've hit minute 45. And there'll be no added on time. Chris Kavanagh's seen enough. And that will be the break for both of these two teams. It finishes after the first 45 minutes. At half-time, it's Leeds United 0, Everton 0. Yeah, I don't feel like there was any necessary need for any added on time. It was a pretty free-flowing game. Not many stoppages. And not a whole host of clear-cut chances, really, from either side. I mean, Leeds have been absolutely fantastic and the much better side, making Everton not even have a shot at goal. But out of the Leeds 12 shots, only 1 on target. That's the main takeaway. They've not really tested Pickford at all. So for all they're good in terms of their possession and chances created and crosses into the box, they're not really looking like they're having that shot that is going to be going into the back of the net. Not really made that real clear-cut chance as of yet, but there's still another 45 minutes to go. As here at Ellen Road at half-time, it is Leeds 0, Everton 0. Fantastic first half for Leeds. The fans have got to be delighted with that. The only thing they're missing is that clear-cut chance, and this is the difference with the Premier League. When you get your clear-cut chances, you've got to take them. It's simple as that. In the Championship, you can sometimes get away with missing 2, 3, 4 chances because you'll probably get another 2, 3, 4 in the next 10 or 15 minutes of the game. But in the Premier League, it's different. The clear-cut chances, the glaring opportunities to score don't always come around too often. So when they come, you've got to score them. That's when the pressure is, lumped onto the likes of Joel Piroe, their striker, who scored 19 league goals last season. But the interesting fact with Joel Piroe, despite scoring so many goals last season in the Championship, he only scored 4 in his last 12 in the league. And those 4 goals all came in one game. He scored 4 against Stoke at home on the 21st of April. So even though he scored a lot of goals in the opening, 3 quarters of the season, that last quarter for Joel Piroe was pretty quiet. So he wants to be scoring a handful of goals once again. He did score 4 though in pre-season, 2 against SC Verl and then 1 against Paderborn, and also in the 1-1 draw against Villarreal. So he is scoring in pre-season, so the goals might come. He's been very good at linking the play-up so far tonight, Joel Piroe. It's like before he even gets the ball, he knows exactly what pass he's making next to someone who's free and has got space and time to then maybe try and link up to play the next pass in the Leeds United move. For Everton, they've got to book their ideas up. They seem very lost. Don't get me wrong. They're on a really short and tight squad at the moment. They've got to bring more bodies in. They have already made 6 new signings so far. two of them are starting with Carlos Alcaraz, who was just a loan deal made permanent, and then of course Kane and Dewsbury Hall, who was brought in for £25 million from Chelsea. Scored 5 goals last season for them in 19 starts in all competitions, and ended his Chelsea career winning not just the Conference League but the Club World Cup as well. And they have got a couple of their new signings on the bench as well. Of course, Jack Grealish, I'd love to see play tonight on loan from Manchester City. Just not quite been his time the last few years, not scoring too many goals. And of course, as well, Tierno Barry, the 6'5" Frenchman brought in for £27 million from Villarreal. The young striker, who scored 11 goals in 35 La Liga appearances last season, and in the season before that with his previous side Basel, he scored 9 in 35 Swiss League appearances. So it'll be interesting to see if he can challenge Beto for that number 9 position, even though Beto does have the number 9 shirt. Be interested to see if David Moyes does make any changes at half-time, because something's got to change. No shots at all so far in the game, and just 37% of the ball isn't good enough. And every time they've had the ball, it's either been a long ball forward or it just looks like panic, because Leeds are just not giving them any time on the ball. I think that's the one thing that Everton are probably going to try and play on. The fact that Leeds are playing so aggressively and so high energy that high energy might become medium energy and then low energy, and they might just start to tire. And that's when their difference makers off the bench have got to make that difference. But like I say, it's just all Leeds. The only thing that Leeds haven't done is kind of create clear-cut chances, just the one shot on target, and the other 11 shots feel like they've just been from anywhere and everywhere. But still, a good solid first 45 minutes. But in terms of the newly promoted sides, of course, for Burnley, that's looking not too great. I mean, just the look of their starting 11 against Tottenham just didn't strike me with any confidence that they can stay up. I even saw someone tweet that Burnley are going to finish 21st, which I think is rather insulting, but I kind of see his point. They do look really bad on paper as a starting 11. It just looks very Championship. And I really don't mean that in an insulting way. Every season that Burnley team in the Championship are challenging for the title. But there's such a big jump to the Premier League, and I just don't feel like they've brought in enough good bodies to kind of be looked at, and you kind of look and think they could cause a few teams some issues. I just don't see it. Personally, they were defeated 3-0 to Thomas Frank's Tottenham against Burnley, who have got off to an half-decent start under their new manager. Of course, we're pretty unlucky to not win the UEFA Super Cup, sorry. But, a nice solid 3-0 home win against a newly promoted side. Can't go wrong with that, 'cause sometimes they can be a bit banana skinny, those sort of games. But also, the other games in the Premier League, we might as well start chronologically and start with that Friday night kick-off. Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2. I did miss the game because there was an issue on Virgin TV boxes around the country, apparently. So I couldn't actually watch any of the game. But from what I heard, Liverpool attacking, fantastic. Defensively, that could be where they're exposed this season, of course, conceding the 2 goals to Antoine Semenyo, who in the first half was subject to racial abuse from one of the Liverpool disabled supporters, which is just horrific to see, and it does look like that's getting dealt with very quickly. But I mean, like, what a response that is, to kind of any sort of racism, to go and score 2 goals. Of course, it wasn't enough for Bournemouth, but I mean, he is some player, Anton Semenyo. He's been heavily linked with moves away from Bournemouth, but just Liverpool just a bit too much. The late winner from Chiesa, and then another goal added on by Mohamed Salah late on. So Liverpool do start with a win, because I do believe they lost. They didn't win any of their last 4 in the Premier League, I do believe. And I've got to be getting those stats right because my next commentary is next Monday, Newcastle hosting Liverpool. That should be a really good one. Like I said, I'm trying to aim to do one commentary a week because I started work last year and then kind of just neglected the commentaries, and I really do enjoy doing them. So I'm going to try and do at least one a week. Of course, when international break comes, I'll just have a break completely and then come back with the one a week. Like I say, it could be any game. Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, Scottish Premiership, any of the European competitions. It could be any, so keep an eye out for them. Aston Villa Newcastle 0-0. Aston Villa very poor, 3 shots, 3 on target at home. Newcastle again 16 shots, just the 3 on target. That's where they let themselves down, and also against 10 men for the last quarter of the game after Ezri Konsa was sent off. Brighton 1-1. Interestingly enough, both goal scorers kind of linked with a move away. Matt O'Reilly, who scored the penalty for Brighton, is linked with Juventus at the minute. I'm reading the former Celtic man, and Rodrigo Muniz as well scored the late equaliser in the 97th minute. And he's also linked with a move away from Fulham. And then the next result, Sunderland 3, West Ham 0. And for me, West Ham fans have got to start to worry because it never really got going in the back end of last season with Graham Potter, and this is just the most woeful start to the campaign. Of course, it was never going to be an easy game for them. Sunderland at home, first game in the Premier League in 8 years, potentially. And 3 second-half goals gave them the 3 points. Delighted for Sunderland because I really like some of the business they've done. They brought likes of Ronaldo at left-back from Atletico Madrid. Granit Xhaka, it's just obvious that he was going to be a great signing, given the captain's armband immediately. He looks to be a real threat. And then obviously Simon Adingra as well from Brighton. That's a fantastic sign. And then also Chesdime Talbi, who they brought in from Club Brugge. I'm not going to act like I know loads about him. I only watched him once last season, and that was at Manchester City in the Champions League. And despite getting knocked out, despite losing that game, Club Brugge, he was someone who really did impress me that day. So hopefully for Sunderland, that will be the first of many wins because, like I said, I'm not associated with Sunderland or Leeds or Burnley, any of the new promoted teams. I have too much thought about them, but I'd love for them to give this a good fight this year, and hopefully one or at least two of them could maybe stay up. It just gives the Premier League a new, dynamic and a new, look. Not just thinking every season, well, the 3 new promoted teams are going to go straight back down. Let's not hope that. Let's hope that some of them are able to stay up. We've already spoke about Tottenham Burnley, and then the 5:30 kickoff, Wolves 0, Manchester City 4. Erling Haaland just doing Erling Haaland things, 2 goals for him. And then in between those goals, Reinders got his first, who played really well, got a goal and an assist. The Dutchman who they brought in from AC Milan in the summer, he won Midfielder of the Year in the Serie A. He won that because McTominay won Player of the Season. So in Serie A they give Goalkeeper of the Season, Defender, Midfielder, Attacker and an individual Player of the Season. So because McTominay won Player of the Season, they still had to give a Midfielder of the Season. You can't win both. So Reinders did win that award, and also Ryan Cherky scored late on. They brought him in from Lyon. He looks like a special player, very skillful, and I think he'll thrive this season. Chelsea Palace ended 0-0. Of course, Chelsea were trailing in the first half to a Bere Eze free kick, but that was disallowed as Gay was well too close to the Chelsea wall as the free kick was taken. Forest starting well once again. I know they fell off a little bit last season, despite being pushed up to the Europa League after the Crystal Palace demotion to the Conference League. 2 goals from Chris Wood, which I think will be a massive relief for Forest. The fact that their main number 9 is still scoring the goals, and a new signing in Dan Ndoye also getting one of the 3 goals. They brought him in from Atalanta. And for Brentford, just got to try and stay calm. They scored a penalty through Igor Thiago. Of course, they've put their faith into Keith Andrews as manager. He was only an assistant coach of Thomas Franks. I think they've just got to try and stay as calm as possible, at least for the first few weeks, to see if they can pick up any kind of results. And of course, the big headline game of the weekend, Manchester United losing at home to Arsenal 1-0. That goal came in the 13th minute through Ricardo Calafiori. Set piece, poor from Bayindir, the goalkeeper, should have done a lot better. And a lot of people were praising Manchester United, and I really do understand why, because they did look a lot better than they did in any of the games last season. But Arsenal looked really poor. Arsenal barely got out of second gear, and United were full throttle, and still they couldn't score against Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, part of that was David Raya being fantastic in goal. He made some really key saves yesterday, but I'm sure Ruben Amorim will look beyond that and try and take all the positives possible. The likes of Mbeumo and Cunha having pretty positive debuts. And yeah, like I say, the only reason they didn't take anything from the game was an individual error from the goalkeeper, which seems to be the story of Manchester United since De Gea's departure. Hernan has never been fully trustworthy in goal, and then Bayindir has not exactly been the trustworthy second-hand man. So that's going to be resolved as quickly as possible, really, if Manchester United want any success this season, because they're not in any Europe, so it's just the Premier League and the cup competitions that they've got to focus on. As the second half will be getting underway in a minute or two time, as we are live. I'm not personally at Ellen Road, but the game is being played at Ellen Road tonight for Leeds United. Their first away game of the season is at the Emirates, so it doesn't get much easier, doesn't get much harder than that. Then they've got to host Newcastle, and then Fulham away after the international break for Everton. They've got to host Brighton at their first game at their new stadium, the Hill Dickinson Stadium. And then they are on their travels again to Wolves. And after the international break, they host Aston Villa. As we are ready to get the second half underway, if anyone's going to be making any changes, I'm sure it will be Everton, who, like I say, failed to have a shot at the Leeds United goal in that first half. Have plenty to call upon Everton. Like I say, Jack Grealish, Dwight McNeil, Tierno Barry, Yusuf Shamiti as well. So here come the Leeds United starting 11, heading back out onto the field of play. Jack Grealish still in his training, warming up kit and bib, but I'm positively sure we will see him at some point tonight in an Everton shirt for the first time. So I don't think there has been any changes during the break from either side. And there is David Moyes in discussion with one of his assistants, Alan Irvine. One of his three assistants of Leighton Baines and Billy McKinley as well. And there was 8 permanent Everton managers in between David Moyes' 2 spells in charge. His first one was from 2002 to 2013, then joined back in January of this year. He's got a 43% win rate, 538 games in charge before tonight, 229 wins, 168 defeats. There's been no changes, and it'll be Leeds to kick us off, kicking right to left. Everton left to right, who are looking just to get a shot at goal in this game, as Leeds try and continue their positive start to the new season. Strauch with a long ball down the left-hand side. It will go beyond Tarkowski to Piru towards the byline. Can he keep it in? He can, but he's been bullied off it by Tarkowski, who clears away for a throw-in for Leeds right next to the corner flag. Actually, must have took a nick off Piru, and it's actually an Everton throw-in. Looked like he didn't take any deflection, but clearly it did, because Piru hasn't complained at all. Long throw in from O'Brien. Helped back forward by Goodmanson. Nonso inside, can't find Piru. Played forward to Piru by Ampadu this time. He lays it off to Stach. Tries to go out wide to the new fullback of Goodmanson. Just too much on it. And that'll be a throw-in for Everton. Well defended there by Alcaraz. O'Brien at right back to take for Everton. He's taking his time with this throw and he goes forward towards Dewsbury Hall, bounces beyond him and then cleared forward by Roden. As far as the head of Michael Keane, controlled by Gay. Played forward by Irabunum, nice flick from Njai, and it's now with Dewsbury Hall. He's got Beto running off to his left. He'll look for him and he finds him in the 18-yard box. He's been forced out wide and goes back here into Garner. Still well and truly alive here for Everton. Our Garner, everyone behind the ball for Leeds. It's to the halfway line to Michael Keane. Going across to his centre-back partner of Tarkovsky. 2 England appearances for himself. They were all the way back though in 2018. During his Burnley days. Keane. Diagonal switch out to the right-hand side. Finds O'Brien in the final third. It's brilliant. Tries to find a pass towards Alcaraz. It's been cleared and volleyed though in the end. Kept alive though by Tarkovsky, who heads it forward. Header away by Strauch. Helped on by Stach to Nonso, who's got a foot race with Tarkovsky, who can just about use his power to get there ahead of the Italian. And he clears it off Nonso, and that will be a throw-in in a right-back position for the Toffees. Had 8 players depart in the summer, Everton, including the likes of Neil Maupay, Holgate, Virginia, Young, Begovic, Calvert-Lewin, one of them as well, who's just signed a contract at Leeds, not quite ready to be involved today. We signed late last week. As O'Brien thumps it away for Everton, all the way to the opposite flank where it'll be a Leeds throw-in on the right-hand side, just inside their own half. Thrown back and taken quickly to Roden. Played every single game last season and started every single game last season in the league. Joe Roden with the one home goal, well, the one goal which was at home to Derby towards the start of December. Long ball from Perry up towards Piru. Comes off his back into Dewsbury Hall. He looks for Garner at left back. It's a bit wayward but can be kept alive by Garner. It's a bit short and Pickford has to slide to clear. Headed up into the air by Ampadu, chested down by Irabunum. Towards the right-hand side, it's Alcaraz who can get away here from Goodmanson, the fullback. Nonso is sprinting back and forces Alcaraz to go backwards. And Everton have it in their own half with Tarkovsky. Keane, 4 minutes into the second half. It's still goalless here at Ellen Road. Njai. Into Garner. Goes across to Tarkovsky. Then returns it to Garner. We're still just inside the Everton half. That changes as he plays it to the left flank here to Gate. Forward to Njai. And then back into the Everton half we go with Garner. Keane. Back out wide to Garner, who's been forced to go to Pickford. Takes a touch of his left foot, then plays it forward calmly to Irabunum, who can turn on the ball. And tries to go forward, and it's cut out by Tanaka. It's now with Nonso, 22 yards out. Fancies the shot, and it's straight down the throat of Pickford. Maybe could have slotted it through for Pirro, who just drifted out to the left-hand side. Decided to go on his own there. Willie Nonso, who scored 9 goals last season in the Championship. 3 in his last 3. He's gone to shoot Dewsbury Hall, though, with a tackle from behind. 5 minutes played in the second half. It's still 0-0. And still we wait for the first Everton shot of the match. Pickford. Another diagonal ball out to the right-hand side. Headed on by O'Brien into a central area. Alcaraz will chase it. Roden heads away, but almost by Dewsbury Hall. Slots it through for Alcaraz. Then one more to Beto. Comes back to him off a deflection. Alcaraz to O'Brien. Passes short, no foul given. And he's tackled by Goodmanson. And that will go through to the Leeds United goalkeeper of Lucas Perry. one short of half a century of appearances for Leon, the new Brazilian goalkeeper. Ampadu looking for Nonto, header won by Tarkowski. Throwing for Leeds United. Like I said, their last season in the Premier League was the 2022-2023 season where Manchester City won the league. Arsenal, Manchester United and Newcastle made up the top four, and they went down with Southampton and Leicester City. Long and hopeful ball here for Leeds. It's been dealt with, though, in the corner of the box by Pickford, who was quickly off his line. And he throws it to his right to James Tarkowski, who's now made over 300 Premier League appearances. And this is appearance number 120 in an Everton shirt competitively. Forward from Tarkowski. Can't quite help it on, though. Beto towards a teammate. Goes through to Perry in the Leeds United 18-yard area. Roden. Forward to James, who helps it onto Bogle on halfway. Touches heavy. He can skip around the challenger, Garner. He has got Njai chasing him down. Keeps it away from him, though, here, Bogle, who's poking it forward towards the run of Stack. Just over hit. And it finds its way through to Pickford. And again, still goalless at Ellen Road. Tarkowski to bring it forward, marauding forward to the halfway line to Alcaraz, who's allowed to turn, just picking up a bit more space in this second half, Everton, as Beto can't link the play. Nonto avoids the challenge of Irabunum. Here is Nonto through the legs of Irabunum, but then picked up by Dewsbury Hall, can't quite play it forward to a blue shirt. And Leeds are back in possession on the halfway line with Tanaka. Gets away from the challenge of Alcaraz. Calmly done by the Japanese international. Roden. Bogle into the middle looking for James. Cut out though by Keane. Keeps it with a left back Garner. That's now with Njai. James Garner again on the ball. Contract does expire at the end of next season. At the age of 24. Signed a 4-year deal as he joined the club back in September 2022. As Beto goes for the diagonal ball, it has to be punched by Perry. There is a man down for Leeds, but he's back to his feet as Njai has it on the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Running at Bogle. Lays it off to the edge of the area to Gay, who will shoot from afar. And that's high and that's wide. That's really, really poor. And it's the Leeds United goal kick. All stemmed from a long ball forward in towards the 18-yard box where Beto was going for it, but Perry was able to punch away. And it ended up with an Idrissa Gueye shot from the edge of the area. And that's why he doesn't score too often. Didn't score at all last season. Did score 3 in his last 6 in the season before. Has 8 Everton goals to his name in his 212 now appearances for the club. Tarkowski heads away. Irabunum trying to keep it away from Ampadu, but he's been dispossessed. Tanaka into the space down the right-hand side for James, who will beat Keane to it. And he runs at the central defender. On his right foot. Into the area. Low ball. Nonso spins and shoots and hits the side netting. Wants the corner. And won't get it. He's adamant it should be another Leeds set piece. Seems like those low balls have been working for Leeds tonight. Towards the near post. He was facing away from goal but quickly spun and had the shot. Doesn't look like there was a deflection there. I think that is a rightly given goal kick by the referee, Chris Kavanagh. Long ball up towards O'Brien, who is able to glance it on. Controlled by Alcaraz, but also has Goodmanson, who kicks it off. Carlos Alcaraz, the Argentine. And that'll be a throw-in for Leeds. Still no changes as of yet. O'Brien clears away for Everton. Beto wins the first header. Ampadu wins the second and forces it back to his goalkeeper. Really clever play there from Ethan Ampadu. Never scored in the Premier League. The Welshman. This is his 27th appearance in the top flight. Goodmanson nutmegs Alcaraz and gets beyond the Argentine. Has to just turn back and keep it moving with Nonto. Tampadu in the centre circle, caught late by Rabunum, but the ball forward is dangerous. It's now with Bogle, forward from fullback, into the space for James. First time ball across, blocked off by Keane. And that'll be a corner, and Ampadu's in pain. And Tim Irabunum will go in the book, and rightly so. Was a late one from the number 42. Was out for 3 months last season himself with an ankle injury. As Ampadu played it, where was he caught? Right on the ankle. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing more than a yellow card, but just twisted it as Irabunum went through the Welsh captain. Almost like his foot got almost caught in the ground a little bit there. Ethan Ampadu. Still down, and he's now receiving treatment. It does seem in a lot of pain here, Ampadu, and he'll be a big loss for Leeds. Like I say, it's more like his foot jarred in the ground. And as Irabunum went through on the follow-through, it just really hurt Ethan Ampadu. I mean, we're hoping Ampadu can continue, but it's not looking very likely that he can carry on. Like I've mentioned previously in the commentary, Ampadu has been relegated 3 times as a player, and he's only at the age of 24. But only one of them have come in England, the relegations, and that was with Sheffield United a couple of seasons ago. If he is to be brought off, they do have a like-for-like sort of change in terms of that holding midfield position of Ilya Gruev. They also have the new signing of Sean Longstaff if they want to go maybe a bit more attacking-minded. So he's back to his feet and walking, but he is hobbling. So he is gonna have to go off to the sideline for now. Just try and walk this one off. Now he's into a light jog. Of course, he'll want to carry on. He won't want to come off. He's that sort of player. So it is going to be an outswinger from the far side from Anton Stach, who has been taking a lot of the set pieces tonight for Leeds United, despite being 6'4". In it goes. Headed into the box, headed away by O'Brien, who has caught the back of his head there, but he has got back up and play will continue. As Nonto switches it out towards the right-hand side to Bogle. He will slow it down to the halfway line to Roden. So now with James, who's alongside him to the left. Nonto being forced to go back here to Strauch. And Ampadu's back on the pitch. Let's see if he can run this one off. He's already been played the ball. And he gets it returned to him from Goodmanson. It's now Tanaka. To Strauch. It's now Ampadu. It's now to the goalkeeper of Perry in the 18-yard area. Half an hour left to go with the half. We're still at 0-0. Bogle played it. Has to volley it left-footed up towards the halfway line. Header won though by Irabunum. Njai towards halfway. Twisting, turning. Irabunum then takes over. And Everton still have the possession. Got Stack on his back and then tries to take on Bogle in front of him, and he gets into the area. Brilliant run, but the touch was too heavy and it's eventually cleared by Roden, but that's more like it for Everton. A little bit less fear in their attack and actually going for it a little bit. Njai trying to find Beto in the area. It deflects and it's eventually cleared. and helped on towards James. Tackled by Garner. Plays it into a more central area to Irabunum. It's now Tarkovsky in the centre circle. Bringing it out wide right. He has got O'Brien with him, the fullback, and he's played it to him. Here he is, O'Brien towards the corner flag. Tackled by Nonto. Throwing for the away side. There is Jack Grealish warming up for Everton. Long throwing from O'Brien to the near post, headed away for Leeds United. Irabunum helps it out to the left towards Gay, then back to Garner as Leeds get out of their own 18-yard box, and Everton have had to rebuild in their own half here, and it's now all the way back. Jordan Pickford, who does have just the 2 years left on his current deal. His last contract was signed in the February of 2023. And his ball forward cut out by Nonto. Stach. Ampadu can't find Nonto on halfway. Played forward to Alcaraz by O'Brien. 1-2 with Beto. Alcaraz tripped from behind by Tanaka. And that will surely be a free kick, and it will. And it's a yellow card as well. And it's a yellow card to Alcaraz and not to Tanaka. And he shakes the referee's hand and apologises because Alcaraz has been booked for asking for a yellow card to Tanaka, which you're not allowed to do. So Alcaraz got up and told the referee to get his cards out, and he did get his card out, but to Alcaraz and not Tanaka. That's rather amusing. And he did accept the booking and apologised. Obviously, sometimes players, it's especially when they're maybe South American or from different parts of Europe, that's almost a bit of an automatic reaction to kind of ask for the yellow card. But in the Premier League, it's not allowed. So Tanaka wasn't booked for the foul. Alcaraz was for asking for the yellow card. But mainly, which is important here for Everton, is they've got a free kick. It's about 5 yards out. Kind of a bit central, so difficult to get an angle for a delivery. But I'm sure Garner will try his best to get it into the area. It's a two-man Leeds wall. Garner is going to hit it, and it's going to deflect, and it will be a corner. I'm not sure if that was his intention, because he was just never going to score from there, Garner. But he has got Everton a corner as Leeds are readying a double change. One of them will be Ilya Gruev, and the other will be Brendan Aronson, who has the one Premier League goal in his career, and that was early on in the season. They were relegated against Chelsea. It's a 3-0 win that day. It's going to be an in-swinger from Dewsbury Hall. Towards the centre of the box. It's a header won by Strauch. Controlled on the edge of the area by Gay. Back out to Dewsbury Hall. He's one-on-one with Piru. Onto the left foot. The cross goes in. Controlled by Keane, but poor. And it's cleared by Stach. Up in the air it goes. Garner meets it with the left boot. It's still up in the air now as Njai brings it down brilliantly. And he's more towards the halfway line as he's now going to try and go forward. He gets beyond Tanaka. And Ampadu. Brilliant running from Njai. Blocked off by the Welshman. Not seen as a foul. Even though Njai stayed down for now. And Boga will clear it with the switch. But can't find the fullback of Goodmanson. And I think now the changes will come. And I'm surprised it's Leeds making the first set of changes. And not Everton. Because they've certainly been the better side this game. The home team. Changes are being delayed for now, so we'll continue with 25 minutes to play at Ellen Road. It's still 0-0. Alcaraz down the line for O'Brien, who will just about keep it in with a cross, which is floated but easily caught by Perry. The last two meetings at this ground have been draws. 1-1 in August 2022 and then 2-2 in August 2021. Leeds' last win against Everton at home was a 2-1 win back in September 2012 in the League Cup. I do believe David Moyes was in charge of Everton that day during his first spell. And for Everton, their last win at Leeds was in February 2021. Calvert-Lewin scoring that day, Rafinha as well for Leeds. Still with Everton on the ball though. Leeds parked in their own half for now. Dewsbury Hall goes to the left here to Garner, who's midway inside the Leeds half. Goes back here to Irabunu, who is on a booking. Garner again. He's got everything to his right for Everton. Cutting onto his right foot, playing it back to Gate. He's going to clip it in towards the far post. It's overhit. O'Brien was looking to make the run as Rissigay apologises immediately. He's overcooked it. And now the changes will come for Leeds United. The first one will see Willie Nonto, the number 29. He's going to be replaced by the number 11 of Brendan Aronson, who did get an assist in that 1-1 draw, the American, against Everton back in August 2022. And the former Inter Milan academy player Willie Nonto comes off. And the second change, I'm assuming it will be Ampadu for Gruev, because Ampadu was caught pretty late, about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Or is it just the one change he's making? He's actually gone against the Gruev change. He was ready to come on, Ilya Gruev, but he's not at the moment. But the substitution up next for Everton is going to be Jack Grealish, who is ready. He's not coming on yet, though. Offside flag there up on Iliman Ndiaye. And what a moment this will be for Jack Grealish, who did say in one of his introduction interviews that one of his main reasons for joining Everton was because of David Moyes. He had a chat with the manager and just liked everything about him and the way he sold the project and the club to him. And that's one of the main reasons he joined, he said. For Jack Grealish, it's been difficult last few years. Scored 3 times last season. His first goal last season, there was a gap of 392 days from his first goal of last season and then his previous goal before that. It's Perry, the Leeds goalkeeper, on the ball. Clears it down the right-hand side. It's headed forward by Garner to Ndiaye, who'll go inside to Gate. And then back to the left full-back of Garner. It's now with Pickford in the 18-yard box. In a nice all-black kit. Clears it right-footed to the halfway line. Headed won though by Ampadu. Controlled by Goodmanson. Down the line it goes to Aronson, having his shirt pulled and then kicked by Tarkowski. And that will be a free kick. Well won there by the American, who gets the ball moving quickly to Ampadu just in front of the halfway line. Strouk clips it down the left-hand side towards Goodmanson. O'Brien's coming across and he will shield it. And he can't keep it. He can't let it go out though. But it's been kicked to Alcaraz, so Everton get away with it. Dewsbury Hall going long out towards the Everton left, looking for Ndiaye. Too much on it. Swept up and dealt with by Jayden Bogle. See if he can last a full 90 as he's just returning back from an injury. Tanaka on halfway, right in the middle of the pitch. Finds Bogle. Just over 20 minutes left to play as Everton do have Grealish ready to enter. Dan James trying to get himself away from Garner, 2 former Manchester United players. Finds Bogle into Piru, then gets the run of James. Chops inside. Is he caught? Linesman and the referee don't see it. Despite both players staying down, Beto gets the last touch, throwing for Leeds. James still down holding his knee, and Garner is also down as well. And that's the last injury they need. They're already short on defenders. Let's have a look. James chopped in. And yeah, seems like a foul to me. Garner catching James. So Garner still down for now. Jack Grealish is waiting to come up. Be interested to see where he plays as well, because in his interview before the game, David Moyes did touch on the fact that Grealish can be versatile in terms of he can play in a central area if needed. So the man on the yellow card, Tim Irabunin, will come off. So that does take off a holding midfielder, so there's going to be some sort of reshuffle. As I'm sure this man will excite those Everton supporters. On for his debut, Jack Grealish got the 1 Premier League goal last season in early April at home to Leicester. has scored once against Leeds, and that was in a 7-0 win for City back in December of 2021 at the Etihad. So it does look like Grealish is going to be playing on the left-hand side, and it's going to be a midfield three of Alcaraz, Dewsbury Hall, and Idrissa Gueye. 19 minutes to play. We're still goalless. Will we get a goal? Long ball for Leeds up towards Piru. Header won by Tarkowski. Stack on the second ball. Heads it forward. But it's dealt with by Gueye. Cleared by O'Brien. Chested down by Ampadu. That's a smart little bit of play. I've nearly watched 4 full Premier League games and I've only seen 1 goal, and that was the Arsenal set-piece goal. As Leeds can't quite keep it in on the near side. Throw-in for Everton. Yeah, I've watched Aston Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, Palace, Manchester United, Arsenal, and now Leeds and Everton, and I've seen just the 1 goal, and that was a header from a yard out. So I've not exactly been excited this weekend by the Premier League games. Every game that had goals I missed. So that's a bit of a shame. Like I say, the TV and my Virgin TV box wasn't working for the Liverpool game. I was at a gig watching Sam Fender on Saturday, which was very exciting. So I missed Manchester City. So yeah, I've not seen a great deal of goals this weekend. So I'm buzzing the Premier League's back. But hopefully we'll get some late drama now. Leeds have just tailed off slightly. They had a really good first half, and that's not to say they've been poor in the second half. They haven't at all, but the energy has just slightly dropped and they're not creating as many chances. As there is Jack Grealish getting his first few touches in an Everton shirt. Tarkowski looking to go forward, but then having to turn back and find Keane. Gueye on the halfway line, no press from any Leeds player at the moment on him. Tanaka is starting to get close, shifts it to his left to Garner. Here's Grealish. Thinking about going forward and taking on his man. Something we've not seen. He does end up going back to the halfway line to Gueye, but held on to that a lot longer than he usually did at Manchester City. He actually looked to go forward and maybe even thought about taking on his man, but it was quite a compact area, so just kept the ball moving. So now with Pickford in the 18-yard box, taking his time, just about clears it ahead of Piru. Headed on by O'Brien down the Everton right, can't be kept in. Throw-in for the home side. Looks like Gruev again, looking to maybe come on here, alongside Nemecha, who is a new signing for Leeds United. Njai on halfway, shoved to the ground. Referee says no. It's now Piru, keeping it away from Alcaraz, who has a few bites, who needs to be careful because he isn't a booking. Strauch at left centre back. Low ball forward to Stack. Brilliant ball. Now into the middle for Tanaka. Back out wide towards Piru. Deflects off the face of Aronson as it was volleyed by Tarkowski, and it goes through to Pickford. I think just now starting to become a bit more frustrating now for Leeds. Their passing game isn't quite ticking as freely as it was in the opening hour or so of the game. It looks like it's going to be triple change. Jack Harrison as well might be coming on as Beto loses out to Rodon. But as far as Garner. Now with Tarkowski, 15 to play. Still a lot more football to be played here as O'Brien shoved over and fouled by Aronson. Seemed a bit soft. Not sure Aronson at 5'10" can outmuscle O'Brien at 6'6" like that, but he did. And it's on this near side now. Great crossing opportunity for the Toffees. Alcaraz and Dewsbury Hall stood over it. Garner's making his way over as well. Tarkowski just finding out what the plan of action is for this set piece. Garner walks away. So does Alcaraz, so it leaves it for Dewsbury Hall with his left foot. It'll more than likely swing in towards goal. Or he might even go for a bit more of a floated cross. The centre-backs are up there. Dewsbury Hall, just not enough on it. Headed away at the near post by Aronson, but chested by Dewsbury Hall. And he's won it back here. the former Chelsea man, still with Dewsbury Hall, turns his man brilliantly. And again once more, and finds Alcaraz in the box, angles tight, will go for the shot, and has to be palmed behind for a corner. Got down low quickly there, Perry, and he had to. Really good body strength there from Dewsbury Hall, and light on his feet to do some quick turns, to find the space, to find the pass to Alcaraz. And with the angle tight at the near post, he still tried it and forced a smart save from Perry. It's going to be another delivery, and by Dewsbury Hall, this one has to be better. Grealish is lurking on the edge of the area, so is Gate. Dewsbury Hall whips it in, header towards goal, and over the bar by O'Brien. I think that was actually a very good chance. A good ball into the 6-yard area, and O'Brien won the header on Goodmanson. Just got too much of his head on it, needs to be more of a glance. Got too much head on it, and that'll be a goal kick for Leeds United as they make a triple change. So the first change will see number 10, Joel Pirout, be replaced by one of their new signings they brought in on loan from Wolfsburg, and that is Lucas Nemecha, who did spend 14 years coming through at Manchester City, made 3 first-team appearances, never scored though. The German. Second change, we'll see Dan James be replaced by Jack Harrison, who spent the last 2 seasons on loan at Everton. Played 73 times for them in the 2 years and scored 5 goals. And he returns to Leeds. Not really a fan favourite at the moment. Apparently there was a bit of words said, apparently by his mum, kind of slating the Leeds United supporters. So Harrison's having to try and win back the faith and the support of the Leeds fans, as he's been kept by Farker. And the third and final change is the captain Ampadu, who had been struggling with an ankle injury that he'd picked up earlier on in the game from Irabunum. He's come off, and it is Gruev to take his place. So we've got 12 minutes left of the 90. It's still 0-0. Changes have been made by both. It's Strauch at left centre-back. Still in his own half at the moment. Goes for a long ball in behind for Nemecha. Just too much on it, but it's not far off perfection, that. Would love to get off to a goal-scoring start. Lucas Nemecha. It's Gay's ball. I think it might have been a bit bobbly on him. He's tried to play it back to Garner. It's gone hard to play for a Leeds throw-in, taken quickly. Because it looks like Aronson's gone out towards the right-hand side, and Harrison will play on the left wing. Goodmanson goes into the middle towards Gruev. Back out wide to the left-back, Goodmanson. Down the line for Harrison. Tries to return it to Goodmanson. Can he keep it in? He can keep it in and will cross it. Controlled by Aronson. Cleared though by O'Brien. Up in the air by Dewsbury Hall. Headed into the box though by Stach. Helped on by Aronson. Tanaka with the shot, and it's over the bar. Just didn't quite get full control of that shot. Tanaka, who scored 5 league goals last season for Leeds. His last 2 have come at home at Ellen Road. Just too much on it. Good couple of yards over the bar. Short from the goal kick. Keane to the left back, Garner. Not loads of options on for him. Goes back to Keane, who clears first time left-footed. Up towards Beto, who can touch it into Alcaraz. It's now with Tarkowski. Everton want to try and get into the Leeds half, and they've done so with their captain. Works out wide to O'Brien. Into Dewsbury Hall. Brought to the ground, but he can keep it moving to Njai, who's tackled by Goodmanson. It's now with Idrissa Gueye. Keeping the ball off Nemecha. It's now with Garner on halfway. Works it to Grealish. Garner continues the run. Grealish finds him with the outside of the boot ball. First time cross goes in, cleared by Roden. Looks as far as Alcaraz, about 35 yards from goal. Keeps it calm, goes back to Tarkowski. Works it wide here to Dewsbury Hall on this near side. O'Brien towards the final third. Into Njai. Silky dribbling and good footwork. He's been brought down from behind. Again, referee says no. But the clearance for Leeds is cut out by Tarkowski. Nemecha wanted it in behind. But the ball went to feet. And he lost out. And it's now back with Pickford outside the 18-yard area. Goes forward to Alcaraz, who takes it on the turn, but he slipped. Nemecha, quick 1-2 with Tanaka. Here is Nemecha, trying to bend it to the far post, blocked by Tarkowski. Still on though with Harrison in the area. Needs to get the cross right. It deflects to the edge of the area to Anton Stack, who will strike it. Does it come off the hand of Tarkowski? Referee points for the penalty. It did look like a hand or an arm was used by the Everton captain. Stack had the shot, which came off Dewsbury Hall, and that is going to be a debatable decision only because it does come off the arm of Tarkowski as it was going goal-bound, but it's kind of towards that sleeve area, which there is a debate on where's the cut-off, where is handball and where's not. Tarkowski will debate the fact that it was more towards the sleeve area of his arm, but to me it looks like it was probably just below the sleeve. We'll have to wait and see. Definitely came off an arm, and I think it'll be the letter of the law that dictates whether this is given. Certainly handball. Tarkowski is trying to pull his arm back slightly, but he's a clever footballer, Tarkowski. I think this would be a bit ridiculous if VAR don't allow Chris Kavanagh to go and see this himself. If VAR tonight is John Brooks, and he is assisted by Simon Bennett. And the penalty's been awarded. Chris Kavanagh doesn't even get sent to the screen. John Brooks on VAR has made that decision for him. And the on-field decision has been stuck with. And with just less than 7 minutes to play of the 90, Leeds have a penalty kick. At the minute, it's in the arms of Lucas Nemecha, the recent substitute. Pickford drinking some of his water and also having a look at where Nemecha likes to go. He had plenty of notes on that bottle, and it will be the German, freshly off the bench, to take this spot kick. Will Leeds take the lead? Nemecha, right footed, he slots it into the bottom right corner, just beyond diving Jordan Pickford, who got so very close to saving it. And they don't have long left to defend their lead, but Leeds certainly deserve that. In the overall balance of the game, they've been much better. So positive, very aggressive. And on the opening weekend of the season, Leeds are ahead late on, thanks to a penalty given away by Tarkowski, dispatched by Nemecha, who just put it too far in the corner for Jordan Pickford to save. It did come off the arm of Tarkowski, who was debating the fact that it was high up on his arm, but an arm was still used to stop the shot going on target. Referee gave a penalty on the pitch. VAR agreed, and Leeds are in front. It's Leeds 1, Everton 0. Their new free signing from Wolfsburg is off the mark in a Leeds United shirt. Hadn't been on the pitch all that long, Lucas Nemecha. 6 minutes altogether, and he's on the score sheet. And Everton are going to roll the dice once more. Going to bring off another midfielder. Carlos Alcaraz will be replaced by their new striker, Tierno Barry, £27 million man from Villarreal. He will play up there alongside Beto, as Everton need to try and make some magic in the final third, something they've barely done this entire game. Long ball from Perry, straight out of play, throwing for Everton. It is in their own half. They've got 4 minutes plus added on time, as O'Brien throws it all the way through to Pickford in the 18-yard box. Kept 12 Premier League clean sheets last season. Jordan Pickford split 6 at home, 6 away, but only kept 3 in the last 15 Premier League games. Everton, they did start scoring a few more goals, so swings and roundabouts for Everton. Back end of last season, Dewsbury Hall clattered to the ground by Stach, and that'll be a free kick for Everton, just in front of the halfway line, taken quickly, but it's been kept moving. It's to Grealish on the left wing. He's going to run at Bogle, driving inside and being tripped over. Free kick. And that is Jack Grealish doing what Jack Grealish does best, running at defenders, something he did not do enough of at Manchester City. And he's won himself and his side a free kick. Far left-hand side, again, angle bit too wide for a shot, but brilliant for a cross. And they've got to try and make the most of it if they can. Dewsbury Hall is the one. Stood over it. Right arm up in the air. A delivery in. All the way through towards Michael Keane. Cleared. Grealish kicks it into the ground. Headed in towards goal. And it's away. Njai will keep it alive on the Everton right. Finds Gate, who crosses. It's a curler. It's a header one. To the far post. And onto the roof of the net. I think Beto won the first header. Tarkowski with the second. And over the bar it goes. 2 minutes left to play. Leeds still with the advantage. Teasing ball in from Idrissa Gate. And yeah, it was Beto who won the first header. Then Tarkowski was coming in late. It was just a bit behind him and he's tried to get it on target, but over the bar it goes. And Everton still trail late on in this game. And David Moyes is facing defeat here. For the second time at Ellen Road, first time since September 2012, which was the last time Leeds beat Everton at this stadium. He's got a good record as well against Leeds, David Moyes. 8 wins in 12, 3 of them away from home. In November 2002, December 2020 and September 2021. As Everton go long, Beto will chase it, but there's too much pace on it. And into the gloves of Lucas Perry for Leeds United. It does look like Leeds are going to continue their spending. Looks like AC Milan forward Noah Okafor is going to be next through the door. As the ball breaks nicely for Leeds, it's now with Jack Harrison on the left wing. Inside to Tanaka, forward towards Aronson, who can keep it away from Dewsbury Hall, but then slips on it, and then it's now with the former Leicester central midfielder, Grealish. Turning away from Aronson, driving forward. Positive from the City loanee. Finds Beto, who then's tackled by Aronson. It's now Nemecha to Tanaka. Into Stach. Harrison's on his bike and he's gone. Been forced out wide by the pass, but he can run at O'Brien. Harrison. Low ball goes in. It's cleared by Keane. Well, as far as Tanaka, 25 yards out. Looking to get it back out wide, and he does find Jack Harrison. Works it to Tanaka, who's come over to support the former Everton winger who spent the last 2 years on loan at Goodison Park. 7 minutes added on. He plays it inside to the runner Goodmanson. Edge of the area. Stach will shoot once more. It's parried by Pickford. Bogle with another shot, and that is blocked by Grealish. Throwing on the far side for Leeds United. Causing more issues with his long shots there. Anton Stach scored just the 1 league goal last season at Hoffenheim as they finished 15th. Did score, though, in the Europa League at Hoffenheim last season, Stach, and that was against Spurs. Long throwing from Bogle, trying to find Nemecha, but it's gone beyond him and out for a Everton goal kick. 6 minutes left of added on time to defend the lead. Yeah, plenty of debate about that handball. Did look like he was trying to tuck it behind his back, but it did just nick the arm. It definitely is a harsh decision, as there's plenty of challenge going in, and it comes out with Tanaka. Deflected ball goes through. Aronson across, and it's helped on towards goal by Stach, but he just can't find the delicate touch over the bar. Goal kick. Be very interested to hear David Moyes' thoughts after this game, because Everton need vast improvement, but they need more bodies into the team. Need more signings. Haven't got a fit fullback, and it's a bare, thin squad. We're going to get a competitive debut for Sean Longstaff for Leeds. He'll be brought on shortly. Pickford goes long from the goal kick. Goes beyond Stach and Beto. Header away by Strauch. Volleyed on by Harrison, all as far as Tarkowski. Returns it to Pickford, and Everton can build from the back with 5 to play. Long ball up towards Grealish. Header won though by Bogle. Bounce not very well dealt with by Michael Keane, and it's now with Stach in the centre circle. Harrison galloping to his left, and he finds him. 1-on-1 with O'Brien. Finds Goodmanson, the left back. Forward to Tanaka, who's going to run forward in towards the box. Gay, though, slides across brilliantly and tidies up. And Everton now needs to try and clear with 4.5 minutes to play. O'Brien kicks it off Tanaka. Not kept in. That will be a throw-in for the away side. Very good sliding tackle there from Idrissa Gueye. Tanaka, I think, struggling there with cramp, but he has been the man substituted. So Tanaka comes off, and on comes Sean Longstaff, brought in for £12 million from Newcastle. Started just the 8 Premier League games last season. His last start in the league was away at Brentford back at the start of December. Didn't score last season, scored 8 the season before though. One of them in the Champions League against PSG. Everton are running out of time. The clock is ticking. So Tarkowski towards halfway. Goes across now to Michael Keane. Garner. Almost set up as a back 3 at the moment here, Everton. Gay. Into the Leeds half. Looking out wide right. Option not on, so forced to go back to Tarkowski. Keeps it moving now to Keane. In front of the centre circle. Finding a pass towards Beto. Cleared though by Strauch. Straight to the chest of Garner. Forward to Grealish. He's looked positive since coming on. Has to go back that time to Garner. Dewsbury Hall. Finds Grealish. Back inside it goes to Garner, who will curl it into the box. It's a dangerous ball. Header won by Strauch. He'll drop towards Gay, who can't quite beat Stach to the ball, who can play it down the line. But it's well won back by Tarkowski, whose touch is heavy. And it will be an Everton throw-in. Last touch off a Leeds player. Taken quickly to Gay. Less than 2.5 minutes to go for Everton to try and snatch a late point here at Ellen Road. Grealish on that far side. Running at Aronson. He's isolated with him. And he gets the cross in. It comes off the stomach, though, of Longstaff. And cleared. Headed back forward by Garner. On once more by Dewsbury Hall. Oh, it's Barry with the touch. Cleared by Rodent. And it's a foul that's gone his way. Beto can't believe it. Less than 2 minutes to go. That will more than likely be it for Everton. Helped on by Barry. Rodent cleared it, and Beto just accidentally ran into him. Didn't really know where he was going there, Beto. A bit harsh, but Leeds will take it. In his 50th game in charge of a Premier League match, Farke is looking to get his 7th win. Perry with the free kick just inside his own box, cleared long up towards Nemecha. Beyond him and headed away by Keane. Minute left. Beto helps on. Bogle wins it. Volleyed up into the air by Rodent. Needs to be dealt with by Keane. It's not. Controlled by Nemecha instead. Longstaff into Aronson. Through to Nemecha just outside the area. Has been tripped by Keane. Is it? Was it? Yes is the answer. And the free kick's been won right outside the 18-yard area. Yeah, clearly clipped the left foot, or the right foot, sorry. And that will probably be that for Everton. Aronson and Nemecha are the ones over the free kick, taken towards the corner flag. It's now with Nemecha. Tackle from Tarkowski. And that'll be a throw-in for Leeds, as they will happily kill the clock. Farke with 2 arms in the air, wanting the whistle. Still not arrived yet. We're still in the corner flag. Needs to be cleared. Goal kick for Everton. Grealish kicks off a Leeds man. Pickford's got to go long. He's got to go long. Pickford with a huge kick forward, but there will not be a final attack for Everton, as Leeds are back in the Premier League with a win on the opening weekend of the season. They've had to wait their turn to show what they're about. And here, on home soil, they have give other teams something to think about here. It was positive, it was aggressive, and it showed a lot of the desire from those Leeds United players. Had Everton shell-shocked in the first half, evened itself more throughout the second half, but Leeds were just still looking like they were a bit more on top, looking a little bit more dangerous. And in the end, it was a penalty kick which got them the 3 points. David Moyes aggrieved with some sort of refereeing decision, probably the penalty kick decision. It was a shot from the edge of the area by Anton Stach, and it was blocked by Tarkowski. It did come off his arm. It was the upper part of his arm, and it did look like he was trying to tuck his arm behind his back. The referee on the pitch gave a penalty. VAR backed it up. And from 12 yards, 6 minutes into his competitive debut for Leeds, Lucas Nemecha buried it into the bottom right corner beyond a diving Jordan Pickford. 21 shots for Leeds, just the 3 on target. So there is work to do in terms of their attacking play, in terms of getting those shots, testing the goalkeeper. But they completely drowned out any sort of Everton danger. Barely looked like they were ever going to score in that game. A lot to work for, a lot to work on for Everton. New signings still needed. But for Leeds, they've set their precedent there. That's their blueprint. Don't get me wrong, 65, 70 minutes in, Leeds started to tire, and maybe against a more well-organised and maybe a bit more confident team, they may have got punished, but they didn't. They were able to take the chance they got from 12 yards with the penalty. They were able to defend what they had, with Everton trying to throw everything they had at Leeds United. And here at Ellen Road, it finishes Leeds United 1, Everton 0. Great commentary, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. That was, at times, a bit of a difficult watch, just because there was a real lack of clear chances. I know Leeds had so many shots, but they were a lot from the edge of the box. There was just not loads of, jump off your seat action, really, from both teams. And it doesn't surprise me that the goal came from a penalty. But, like I say, that aggression, that desire, and that quick football from Leeds really impressed me. Like I say, in the second half it kind of tethered off, but that first half I was really impressed. First touch, passing, nice. It's dead basic and it's dead simple. But triangles, creating loads of triangles, which then creates angles to get out of tight spaces and get themselves forward. They did it really well, and it threw Everton off massively. Everton did not know how to cope with Leeds in that first half, and they were probably a bit unlucky to go in at half-time 0-0. Second half, Leeds did just start to tire. Everton kind of grew into the game a little bit more, became slightly more even, but overall, 100% Leeds United deserved those 3 points, even if they did get them after a penalty kick, which was well dispatched by Lucas Nemecha. But I hope you did enjoy this live commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Trying to get one done a week, excluding international breaks. So the next one is next Monday again, same time next week, and we will be covering Newcastle hosting Liverpool. So that will be a massive game for both. Newcastle starting with a 0-0 draw, so doing well defensively, but couldn't quite get the ball in the back of the net, missing a certain Alexander Isak, who is linked to Liverpool, who, again, attacked very well, probably defended quite poorly. So it'll set up a nice, interesting, intriguing game at St James's Park next week. So make sure you're here for that, as Eddie Howe takes on Arne Slot, and it's their first meeting since the League Cup final, which, of course, Newcastle came out on top. But here at Ellen Road on Leeds' return to the Premier League, they're not here to make up the numbers, they're here to survive, and they've made a brilliant start. 3 points after the 1 goal from the penalty spot from their new signing, Lucas Nemecha. 2 of the promoted sides have started with wins, one of them with Sunderland beating West Ham 3-0, and the other with Leeds playing a very well-constructed game. Game plan played to perfection. They outclassed, they outperformed, they outworked Everton, and they walk away with the 3 points. As here at Ellen Road, it finishes Leeds United 1, Everton 0.